President Trump has returned to the White House after touring a new and controversial migrant detention facility in Florida, which conservatives are embracing as a symbol of the administration's immigration crackdown. The president, alongside Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, visited the detention center that's become known as Alligator Alcatraz, and for good reason. The facility is situated on the site of an old airstrip in the Florida Everglades, and that sparked protests over both environmental and humanitarian concerns. In addition to the oppressive heat, it is surrounded by swampland inhabited by all kinds of swamp animals. We're not kidding here. The president, though, says he is touting these conditions as a feature of the facility.
You don't always have land so beautiful and so secure. We have a lot of bodyguards and a lot of cops that are in the form of alligators. You don't have to pay them so much. But I wouldn't want to run through the Everglades for long. It will keep people where they're supposed to be.
NBC News senior national politics reporter and Florida resident Matt Dixon joins me now, along with NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley. So Matt, Florida man here, walk us through how this facility came to be and how significant is the governor in all of this?
Yeah, well, Governor Ron DeSantis has been pushing an immigration crackdown for essentially the entirety of his political career. A few weeks ago, we don't have an exact time frame as far as specific days. Him and DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, sort of the administration sort of connected on the idea of putting this facility in the middle of the Florida Everglades. And the messaging and the sort of political prospects of why this was important sort of centered on the alligators and the snakes and it being 50 miles from, essentially functional land. And they thought it was a really good idea to house nearly 3,000 people at almost $450 million a year in the middle of the Florida Everglades. And it's a partnership between DHS and the state. And certainly Governor Ron DeSantis and his Attorney General James Uthmeier were big drivers of that.
And I think it's easy for all of us to be a little afraid of alligators. And so making that a feature, not a bug, is certainly interesting. Julia, when you look at this facility, I've heard administration officials talk about it as a form of deterrence. Is that what it's intended to be?
Well, they're talking about it really publicly, but legally, Kelly, that could be a problem for them. In fact, under the Immigration Nationality Act, not only are border restrictions not meant to be a deterrent, but immigration detention is not meant to be punitive. It's not like serving a sentence. It is specifically for the purposes of detaining an immigrant while they have a pending asylum case or a pending deportation order if they're about to be deported from the United States. And so in this case, they are very flagrantly saying that this is detention. You see these PR campaigns where you have alligators wearing ice hats that have been put on them through some kind of CGI, AI, and they're saying, of course, that this is this tough stance. Now, the one difference between this and an ICE facility is that this is a state thing. Ron DeSantis is correctly getting the credit for this because the state of Florida is running it, and they're going to be reimbursed with FEMA funds. So there are a lot of immigration advocates that are worried that this facility will not fall under the same oversight that other ICE facilities do.
Because
in fact,
of that state
ICE has already
partnership.
dismantled its off. That's right. And because ICE has recently dismantled a lot of the oversight that they had, the Office of the Immigration Detention Ombudsman, for example, has been dismantled according to an ongoing lawsuit. And frankly, because this falls outside of ICE. It's really like nothing we've seen before.
And Matt, a number of environmental groups have filed a lawsuit over this facility because it is in the Everglades. There's some protected land there. What is that doing in terms of the debate?
Yeah, I mean, it's a national park. It's among the most environmentally sensitive swaths of land in the country. There's really nothing like it. There are other national parks that are mountains, that are other things, but there is nothing like sort of the sea of grass that is the Everglades. So what environmental groups are saying, and they have challenged this, as you rightly pointed out, in court, and they are saying, hey, what is it going to be like if we bring 3,000 people into this very environmentally sensitive area? How is that going to have impacts? And I think their perspective is certainly that it's going to, obviously have negative impacts in an area that is already, over the very recent history of Florida, over the past 2 or 3 decades, the Everglades has been sort of encroached on and developed, and environmental groups are very sensitive to that. And their perspective is that, hey, 3,000 people in the middle of the Everglades, that could be a problem. And that's what is sitting before a judge right now.
And Julia, when the president was at the facility today, he suggested that he could be open to deporting people born in the United States. Let's play that.
But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here, too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together.
Okay, so that's a notable comment from the president about removing American-born citizens from the country. Is there any basis for this in the law based on what you have been tracking on this?
No, absolutely not. I mean, there's really no basis for deporting Americans. This isn't the first time that Trump has talked about this. So you can remember he talked about it with El Salvador's President Bukele in the Oval Office. And again, he brings up time and time again people whacking someone over the head. Previously, he said it was grandmothers getting on the subway who were the victims of this. It's not clear what specific incident he's citing. But at that point, he was talking about deporting Americans who he thought were hardened criminals to CCOT. It wasn't clear whether he was going to try to use the Immigration Nationality Act, which clearly doesn't have a provision for American citizens, or whether he was going to try to use the Alien Enemies Act to try to deport people to CCOT. But really, this is something that doesn't have legal basis. But, you know, there have been pipe dreams of Trump's on immigration that have come true. In fact, Alligator Alcatraz is one of them. In a book by Michael Shear, Border Wars, they talk about the first Trump administration. He wanted to build a moat with alligators to keep immigrants out. At the time, that seemed like something that could never be done. And we're talking about it in real terms here today.
It's amazing how the first term to the second term, some of those ideas, people have gotten used to hearing him talk in this way. Matt and Julia, thank you so much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.